Hi, everybody. It's been a while since I came to you in this context in a video. So I hope to start that again, to do more of these videos. You know, we noticed that the videos that we were doing previously, they took too much of the form of just kind of me giving announcements that would be similar to what I'd give at the end of Mass. And or giving updates on or things that are coming up, things that you could just see in the bulletin. And you know, you could hear that at Mass, you can read that on the bulletin, you can see those things on the website. So our hope is that these videos, when we do these videos, it's kind of like it takes more of a deeper dive, kind of behind the curtain, if you will, on some things that you'd hear more so than what you'd hear just as an announcement at the end of Mass or reading in the bulletin. So try to guess where I am right now. It's somewhere on the campus of Notre Dame. It's nowhere in the church. I mean, I'm not giving you too many clues other than the fact that there's a fireplace right here and a staircase going upstairs, but it's not in the church. It's not where I live in the rectory on Golf, but it's actually the other house on campus. It's known as, you may know it by different names. You may know it by the Kaffer house. I think I usually call it the old rectory, but it's the house on Norfolk. And a little history of this place. It was purchased, I think, in the early 80s from a parishioner, from the pastor at the time, in hopes to utilize this space. It was actually purchased before the current church was even built. And, you know, they thought it'd be a good asset to have, to use for, they weren't really sure for what at the time. But eventually it housed Bishop Kaffer. So hence the name. You may have heard it called Kaffer House because of Bishop Kaffer, who was a bishop in the Diocese of Joliet. So he lived here. And I think he even had a chapel in this house, would host different diocesan events. And so that was through, I think, a good 10 years that Bishop Kaffer lived here. After Bishop Kaffer, there was another priest that lived here, an associate priest, Father Bernard. He was a Franciscan priest, and he lived here for up until I think just 5 years ago when he died. Since then, this property, this house has been really not used all that much. Father Burke lived here a little bit when he was an administrator. We would house maybe like the net team when they would come for retreats and things. But for the most part, this place has been vacant. And I first heard about this property prior to me even coming here. You know, I was caught up to speed from, you know, Mike Labarge on the Buildings and Grounds Committee, the Finance Council. So the conversation on what to do with this property, this house, has far preceded me. And so, you know, for the last 2 years, we've been talking, discerning, discussing on what the Lord wants us to do with this place. You know, you can just keep it here and do nothing with it, which, you know, we all decided is not the best option. We could demolish it and use it for parking. We could, you know, there was a thought of conversation of selling the place that I'm currently living, the rectory on Golf, and having this place become the rectory, because this place, you know, it's not as sellable as the other one on Golf, because the backyard we know is just the dumpster, right? The church dumpster and the school. But after a lot of discussion, Buildings and Grounds, Finance Council, we discerned that the Lord wants us to use the house right now. This isn't to say this is going to be an indefinite thing. We're still there's still discussion and prayer on what a longer term thing plans are for the use of the place. But at least right now, instead of just keeping it vacant and having nobody here, we partner with an organization called Sacred Tent. And Sacred Tent Sacred Tent is helping us. We're going to be housing a young woman and her two babies, her two children. I think they're very young. I think a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. But Sacred Tent is an organization that does a very thorough job with vetting these guests, these residents, and what better thing to use right now instead of just having the place be vacant than helping a young mom and her two babies to give them a place to stay, which otherwise, don't have a place to stay and to live. And so I want to just emphasize, it's not just, we don't want this person just to be a random person that's living in the house, right? We want them to be part of the community. We hope and we're planning for them to send their children, this woman's children, to preschool and kindergarten here. And they're not going to be alone in the house either. We've also, through Sacred Tent, there's also going to be a staff person that will be living in the house with the mom and babies, possibly even 2 staff people that will be living here to, and kind of like a social worker, somebody to help the young mom to get on her feet, help her with life skills, to eat meals with them, and to cook with them, and to be part of their life in the house. And Sacred Tent has very specific guidelines and rules for the residents, which we're very comfortable with, and we're very excited about. We believe that doing this and this woman and her babies living in this house is going to be a huge blessing to our community. There's things already that are being lined up of having like a food train with parishioners are going to like cook a meal and not just cook the meal and drop it off, but to actually come in here and to eat and share a meal with this mom and her 2 babies. And so it's an opportunity for us to really love on somebody, to care for them. And it's the gospel, right? It's a work of mercy, is to help people who don't have a place to stay, and so we're excited about it. We needed to do a little bit of work to the rectory, which has been done. A big thanks to Colleen Barrett, who's been overseeing it, and especially Don Price, who's done so much and has given so much of his time of overseeing things, just little things that needed to be done, because the place was, like literally falling apart in places. I joke around, upstairs, had like 2-inch orange shaggy carpet that each time that I would come here and go upstairs, the carpet seemed like it grew, a 1/2 inch each time. So just a couple things that we had to take care of to make it livable. And but yeah, I wanted to convey that, wanted to let you know of what's going to be, who's going to be here, and whether it be at Mass, and I think probably at Mass through the bulletin, we hope to introduce you to the young woman and her babies who are going to be here. Because like I said, it's not just, we want to love on them, and we want to care for them, and we want them to become part of the community. And it's going to be a blessing for them, I know, and it's going to be a blessing for us too. So we'll probably say more about this coming up here, but I think that does it for now from the Kaffer House or Old Rectory. We'll come up with a new name for it, I think. Maybe. I don't know. But anyways, God bless you, and we'll see you soon.